Hello everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Hazel Choo. I'm thrilled and honored to be part of this group show, Taking Up Space, with other talented and powerful female artists at Brea Gallery. I wanted to take this opportunity to present and talk about some of my work through this video. I hope this will help you understand my artwork. Before I get into that, let me share a little bit about myself. I graduated from UCLA in fine art with a specialization in photography, and I'm currently based in Los Angeles. I was born in Seoul, South Korea, and I moved to the United States to pursue my education. I had a chance to show my new American series at Brea Gallery in 2019, and I'm very pleased to be back and show my self-portraiture-based works with you this time. I have been working on the body of work in different ideas and topics such as the emotional and political tensions between North and South Korea, my personal story nearly experiencing gendercide, which is the systematic killing of unborn female infants, and the immigrants' experience in the USA, and the exploration of both my contemporary identity and traditional Korean female identity. Since when I was young, I love observing things, especially the colors. My parents were the first people who inspired and influenced me the most to pursue art. My childhood home was filled with photos taken by my father and my mother's own drawings and ceramics and 3D paper tool arts. Not only that, they were always learning new things like Korean traditional dance, instrument, and sports. My dad often says learning never ends. My family used to take long road trips to visit my grandparents in the countryside of Korea. Along the way, I was always fascinated with the beautiful scenery, which was absent from urban Seoul. I remember admiring the natural scenery with great awe and enjoyed seeing the sunlight pierce through the leaves, producing a spectrum of beautiful green colors. I love drawing and painting, but when my parents handed me a camera to photograph them as they perform a traditional Korean dance in a public park, that was the first time I had ever taken pictures, and I was about 8 years old. The winding sounds of the film and clicking noise of the button filled me with excitement, so I joined the black and white photo club in my high school, and I have wanted to pursue art and photography since then. So at age 19, I came to California to pursue my dream to study. I identify as a female survivor of gendercide, Korean citizen, foreigners as neither native nor immigrants of the United States, expat, and artist. Before I moved to the United States from Korea, I could not even imagine what kind of future was ahead of me. I was just excited to move to the dream country and pursue my education. I needed to learn everything again, how to listen, speak, read, express my feelings, new culture, diversity, minority, and privilege. When I started making art, I thought art shouldn't reveal your identity, but I have realized that without knowing, I am heavily involved with the work, and my work cannot separate my existence. My recent works have a strong relationship with my identity, contemplation, and exploration of my internal and external connection to the notion of place. Living in a foreign countries and being a temporary resident of Los Angeles for the past 6 years, I often felt like an outsider. It caused me to question my definition of home. Several years ago, I asked my mother to send a traditional Korean dress called hanbok to me. After receiving the hanbok from my mother, my art journey turned to explore my identity in depth. As I unwrapped the bojagi, which is the traditional Korean unwrapping cloth, it felt like I'm unfolding stories of my mother and what she went through with all social pressures and burdens as a woman in Korea when she was at my age. On the other hand, I considered how different the life I am allowed to choose to have and live in this place. So the first series of self-portraits contains the narrative of receiving the package from my mother from Korea and unwrapping it. You, Me, and Angelinos is a 1-minute video that highlighted my performance held in Koreatown, Los Angeles. I walked into the crowd and stood still for over 3 hours in the middle of the street with passersby walking around me. I heightened the viewers' awareness of my existence. People actually were not aware that I was filming the performance, so several people were trying to interact with me, but I had to maintain great control to remain as still as possible. I claimed the space and embodied the traditional heritage and modern identity. Untitled 1981/2016 and 1981/2017/2020 are the series of my self-portrait that talks about my identity as a clash between my contemporary identity and traditional Korean cultural female identity. You will notice that there are 2 different styles of hanbok. The first series, I wore my mother's hanbok that was handmade in 1981 for the wedding from her parents-in-law. Wearing this particular hanbok, which is made of the green top and red skirt, is very symbolic. It was for the new brides to wear for their weddings. Red is for protecting from the evil spirits, and green is for prosperity. And in the second series, I wore my oldest sister's hanbok, which was custom made in LA as a gift for her wedding. She is the first one of our family who came to America by herself about 2 decades ago. I am wearing her contemporary hanbok and reflect on being the first Korean generation in America from our family, and using our mother's hanbok simulates a butterfly's cocoon and shelter. The hanbok simulates a shelter and represents a refuge and haven from my internal struggle with duality, the pull of my traditional Korean roots and my new identity as a foreigner fighting against circumstances to achieve my dreams in America. In an interview for our foreign filmmaker Trim Min Ha talk about a culture outside your experience. Quote, when you decide to speak nearby rather than speak about, the first thing you need to do is to acknowledge the possible gap between you and the who populate your film. You can only speak nearby in proximity, which requires that you deliberately suspend meaning. This allows the other person to come in and fill that space as they wish, unquote. According to Min Ha, speaking nearby sets itself apart from speaking about. It refers to an indirect form of speaking that does not objectify topics and subjects, but reflects upon itself, and is capable of approaching topics and subjects from up close. I hope that people will find a space where they could speak nearby my work without hesitation and fear, even if it does not really resonate with them. I hope it will be carried on and shared through audience engagement. Once again, thank you Brea Gallery for this opportunity for me to be in this show, and thank you for listening. If you want to see more of my artworks, you can check them out on my website. Thank you so much.